In the heart of Arabia, a new faith emerged, Islam. The vast deserts with their endless horizons became the backdrop for a story that would reshape the world. In Mecca, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, known for his honesty and integrity, received a message: there is only one God, a message that would challenge the very core of his society. This message challenged a society built on idol worship, tribal loyalties, and long-standing traditions. The old ways were deeply rooted, and change was met with suspicion. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, began to preach justice, compassion, and equality, values that resonated with the oppressed and marginalized. His followers were few at first, drawn from all walks of life, slaves, the poor, and even some of the wealthy, united by faith and hope for a better future. The powerful Meccan leaders saw Islam as a threat to their authority, their traditions, and their thriving economy built on pilgrimage and trade. Persecution followed. Ridicule, violence, and torture became daily realities for the early Muslims. Their faith was tested at every turn. Families were divided, friendships shattered, and the weak suffered most. Yet the believers' resolve only grew stronger in the face of adversity. The Muslims faced a stark choice: abandon their faith or leave their homes and everything they knew behind. They chose exile, migrating to Medina in the Hijra, a turning point in Islamic history, marking the beginning of a new chapter. In Medina, they found support, friendship, and the chance to build a new community based on their beliefs. Yet, the threat from Mecca persisted, and conflict loomed on the horizon. The Muslims could not let their guard down. The seeds of future battles were sown in these early trials as the community prepared for the challenges ahead. The Muslims' faith, tested by hardship and loss, became their greatest strength, a source of unity and hope. Their unity and resilience would soon be put to the ultimate test, as the threat of war grew ever closer. The story of Islam's rise is one of conviction in the face of overwhelming odds, and of hope that refused to be extinguished. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, inspired hope and courage, guiding his followers through darkness and uncertainty. The believers' sacrifices, leaving behind their homes, wealth, and loved ones, laid the foundation for a new society built on faith and brotherhood. Their journey from persecution to community marked the beginning of a new era, one that would echo through history. The challenges of Mecca forged a brotherhood in Medina, uniting people of different backgrounds in a common cause. The struggle was far from over. Greater trials awaited and the future remained uncertain. But the Muslims were no longer alone. They were a people with purpose, united by faith and a vision for a just society. The stage was set for a confrontation that would change history forever as the forces of Mecca and Medina prepared to meet. The legacy of these early trials endures, reminding us of the power of faith, perseverance, and unity in the face of adversity. The story of Badr begins here, in the crucible of adversity, where faith and courage would shape the destiny of a people. In Medina, Muslims found a fragile peace, finally able to practice their faith openly after years of persecution. Yet, Meccan hostility continued to cast a long shadow over their new home. The Quraysh had seized Muslim property, leaving many families destitute, and saw Medina's growing strength as a direct threat to their power and influence in the region. Mecca's wealth depended heavily on trade caravans passing near Medina, carrying goods and fortunes across the desert. For the Muslims, these caravans were more than just commerce. They symbolized stolen wealth, lost homes, and the ongoing aggression that had driven them from Mecca. News soon arrived of a particularly rich Meccan caravan led by Abu Sufyan, laden with goods and guarded by only a small escort. The Prophet decided to intercept it, not to provoke war, but to reclaim what was lost, to assert the rights of his people, and to pressure Mecca into negotiation. A small Muslim force set out, aware of the risks but determined to stand up for justice and their community's survival. Abu Sufyan, ever cautious, sensed the danger and quickly sent word to Mecca, calling for urgent reinforcements to protect the caravan. The Quraysh responded with a large, well-armed army, eager to crush the Muslims and send a message to all of Arabia. What began as a simple raid for justice quickly escalated into a major confrontation, far beyond what either side had anticipated. Both sides were drawn into a conflict neither had fully planned, each now facing the possibility of a decisive battle. The Muslims faced overwhelming odds, outnumbered and outarmed, but their resolve and faith were unshaken. The Meccans saw this as their chance to end Islam once and for all, determined to crush the new faith at its roots. The stage was set for a battle that would shape not only the fate of Medina, but the future of all Arabia. Badr was no longer about a caravan, it had become a struggle for survival, identity and destiny. The fate of the new Muslim community, and the hopes of their families, now hung in the balance. The world watched as two forces converged at Badr, setting the stage for a moment that would echo through history. The battlefield was Badr, a place destined to become legendary in the annals of history. This vital oasis, nestled along the ancient caravan route, was more than just a source of water. It was a strategic prize that could determine the fate of both armies. The Muslims, just over 300 strong, moved swiftly to secure the wells, knowing that control of water could mean the difference between life and death in the harsh desert. Their resources were meager: few horses, basic weapons, and little armor. But their unity and determination were unbreakable, forged by shared hardship and faith. In contrast, the Meccans arrived with nearly 1,000 men, confident and heavily armed, their banners fluttering in the desert wind. They expected an easy victory over what they saw as a band of renegades, underestimating the resolve of their opponents. The Muslims, outnumbered and outgunned, stood firm, their hearts steady in the face of overwhelming odds. The Prophet consulted his companions, all pledged unwavering support, their voices united in loyalty and trust. The Ansar and Muhajirun, united by faith and brotherhood, were ready to face death together, bound by a cause greater than themselves. If you're enjoying this story and want to uncover more fascinating moments from history, make sure to check out the channel The Truth. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more content just like this. The contrast was stark: faith and resolve against pride and numbers, a clash of ideals as much as armies. The Muslims' greatest weapon was conviction, not steel, and their courage radiated in every determined face. The Meccans' arrogance blinded them to the strength of their opponents, mistaking faith for weakness. As both armies took their positions, tension filled the desert air, every man aware that history was about to be written. The fate of a new faith and the future of Arabia would be decided at Badr. The believers' unity and courage would soon be tested in battle, as the first rays of dawn lit the sands. The world seemed to hold its breath as the two forces prepared to clash, the silence before the storm heavy with anticipation. The moment of reckoning had arrived, and the destiny of nations hung in the balance. On the eve of battle, the Muslim camp was filled with prayer and resolve. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, spent the night in deep supplication, seeking divine help. The odds were daunting, but faith ran deep. The companions drew strength from the Prophet's unwavering trust in God. Strategic preparations were made. The Muslims controlled the wells and positioned themselves wisely. Every detail mattered, discipline and order prevailed. That night a gentle rain fell, firming the Muslims' ground, turning the Meccan camp to mud. The believers saw this as a sign of divine favor. In the Meccan camp, overconfidence reigned. The contrast was clear: humility and faith versus arrogance and pride. The Muslims found peace in prayer, ready for whatever dawn would bring. The Prophet's leadership inspired calm and unity. The night before, Badr became a symbol of reliance on God in the face of overwhelming odds. As dawn approached, the believers stood prepared for the greatest test of their lives. The stage was set for a battle that would echo through history. At sunrise, the two armies faced each other across the valley of Badr. The Muslims, outnumbered and outmatched, stood resolute. The battle began with duels. Hamza and Ali led the Muslims to early victories. These triumphs boosted morale and shook the Meccans' confidence. The main engagement erupted. The Meccans advanced, expecting an easy win. The Muslims fought with fierce determination, driven by faith and survival. Their battle cries echoed their belief in one God. The Prophet prayed for victory, inspiring his followers. He emerged from his shelter, symbolically casting dust toward the enemy. His presence and prayers fueled the Muslims' courage. The fighting was intense, but the Muslims held their ground. The Meccans' numerical advantage began to mean less as the battle raged. The believers' unity and conviction became their greatest strength. The outcome of Badr hung in the balance. As the battle peaked, the Muslims felt a surge of strength. The Quran speaks of angels aiding the believers. Whether literal or spiritual, the effect was real. The Muslims fought with renewed vigor, pushing back the Meccans. Key Meccan leaders fell, including Abu Jahl, shattering enemy morale. The Meccan lines wavered, then broke. Panic spread. The once confident army began to flee. The Muslims pressed their advantage, turning defense into victory. The few overcame the many, the poorly armed defeated the well-equipped. Faith and unity triumphed over arrogance and numbers. The desert sands bore witness to a miraculous turnaround. The impossible had happened. The Muslims had prevailed. The Battle of Badr became a symbol of divine support and human resilience. The shift in the sands was complete. History had been made. The legacy of Badr was born in this moment of triumph. The Muslims' victory at Badr stunned Arabia. 70 Meccans fell, many more were captured. Muslim losses were far fewer. The Prophet showed mercy to prisoners, setting new ethical standards. News of the victory electrified Medina, uniting the community. The Muslims' status rose, their faith was vindicated. Mecca mourned its defeat, its power shaken. The balance of power in Arabia began to shift. Other tribes took notice. The Muslims were now a force to be reckoned with. Badr was more than a battle, it was the dawn of a new era. The sacrifices of the believers were honored, their unity strengthened. The world would never be the same. Badr became a cornerstone of Islamic history. It symbolized faith's triumph over adversity and the power of unity. The victory transformed the Muslims from a persecuted minority to a recognized power. Badr's lessons are timeless: conviction, justice, and reliance on God. The Quran calls it Yawm al-Furqan, the Day of Distinction. The companions of Badr are revered for their sacrifice. For generations, Badr has inspired hope in the face of overwhelming odds. It teaches that true victory comes from inner resolve and unity. Badr's legacy is a call to stand for justice and transformation. Its story continues to inspire believers everywhere. Badr's lessons remain as vital today as ever. It teaches courage, the willingness to stand firm for what is right. It shows the power of faith to overcome fear and adversity. Unity was the Muslims' greatest strength, binding them as one. The victory at Badr was not just military but spiritual and communal. Its message is universal. Challenges can be overcome with conviction and solidarity. Badr inspires us to face our own trials with courage and hope. It reminds us that true victory is overcoming fear and doubt together. The echoes of Badr call us to justice, compassion, and unity. Its story endures, lighting the path for all who seek a better world. The legacy of Badr is a testament to the enduring power of faith and unity.